Hey, recording Chell here. Just a little heads up before this entire thing actually gets a chance to start. I originally had little to, a lot to do with this and wanted to make sure that that the recording came out nice. But instead, what happened was is that we recorded this two, maybe three times, and first two times ended up becoming a complete bust. Um, Due to that, we had to record this entire thing again, and the audio is not that great. But it is what it is. I was able to salvage a good chunk of it. There's going to be some clips, some high points, some loud points. So I kind of recommend to listen to this without headphones or at least at a low level. But it is what it is. I tried my best, and I think that's what matters most. But other than that, hey, at least we tried. But you, have a good day. Oh yeah, so I just want your name and your pronouns and then your sexuality.
Okay.
Alright. I'm Brittany. My pronouns are they, she. I'm 29 and I am a lesbian.
Lesbian?
Non-binary.
Lesbian.
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 What the fuck? I love the both of you to stop. Okay. My name is Adam. My pronouns are he, him, and I am pansexual.
Oh god.
What's your big debut?
My name is Tegan. My pronouns are they and whatever anybody feels like calling me, other than that. And I'm kind of all over the place.
Fair enough.
You were a creature.
I guess the catch-all would be Pan.
Yeah?
Yeah, I guess
Okay.
it would be Pan.
You're
Yeah,
just
just any and all.
everything about you is gay.
Gay, homosexual.
Some member of the alphabet.
And also,
For clarity's sake, Tegan is my full-blood sibling.
Yes.
so
I'm
we,
also here.
yeah, and Adam is also here.
And I helped.
So professionally, my name is Dorian. But as of now, unprofessionally, I suppose, I am Chell. I go by they, them. I am non-binary. I really just, I guess, pansexual. I guess that's where we are. And this is a normal night for us.
Your professor's gonna love this.
Oh my god. Yeah, they're gonna love that burp.
But yeah, so thank you for introducing yourself. I guess we could jump right on in. So like this particular like little thing is predominantly based off of like generalized like queer feelings, queer emotion, but queer media as a whole. Like even it does include like how you feel about it, your take into like where you go with like your media, so like art, writing, whatever. So like if you want to like if you find out that like there's a question that like more pertains to like something that you actually create, go for it. Does not hurt anything. But other than that, we'll start from the top. When it comes to like queer media, how do you want the queer characters to feel, or what do you want to what do you look for in a queer character, and what do you want them to be queer coded?
Most importantly, for authenticity, like I don't need the queer characters and questions to be like over the top. You know what I mean? Like where it almost feels like a caricature. But also, I do believe there's merit in people who complain about a queer character being so subtle it basically has like nothing. It's like a passing line of like, by the way, I'm gay, and like that never gets revisited. Like it's never shown. It's
Well,
never.
like it's a tagline.
Yeah.
And guess what? He's gay.
And It's like, I don't consider Russo brother complaining about his husband disintegrating in therapy in Endgame good queer representation. I remember that one, Marvel. You want everybody to forget, but I remember.
Fair enough.
But I look for authenticity most of all.
Could liken myself to the same answer, to be honest. I mean, through it all, I guess an overall statement would be that if there is a queer character as a whole, I'd like them to just be like normalized, like not over the top, like shown as like this is a set piece. Like, what am I trying to do for here? Okay, so you remember Not Out of the Teen movie when they had the black character and they said, "I'm the token black character."
Yes, I do.
Damn, and that's black.
Yes.
I don't want the gay character to just roll in and be like, "I'm here to judge your clothes, go from here, be overly foppish," and it's not necessary. So just you can produce a normal character, just have them be like every other character inside of your media, and just let them go from there. Like people can find out, like, oh, they're with this person, just be accepted. Like that's the main thing I look for.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Most stuff.
Because it's really coming from like
shit like that where you have the like token black character or the what is it, the fucking magical Negro. Like it's starting to get like that, but now they're like, oh, now that we have god, what's their name, Billy Porter. Billy Porter is now becoming that, and I hate to say it like that, but Billy Porter is legitimately like that person in every movie that they're in. Like, you are legitimately the magical Negro, but you're the magical gay black Negro, which makes it even worse.
Yeah, this is true. I mean, I guess the opposite of that would be I'm making a really bad habit of interrupting myself. Dave, did you want to add in there, or?
I mean, I guess my biggest qualm I've had with just, yes, this is a question geared towards queer media.
Anything works.
Media in general, when it comes to books, TV shows, movies, games, even. I think I've hit this point where it would just be nice for characters that fall under anything but straight, right?
Mm-hmm.
To have the same, let's say, complexity that you see with how people do handle a straight character. Like it would be nice to see more than just one tiny little sliver of the whole person. Which some people, they maybe they live their whole lives being very flamboyant and out there, and that is awesome. I'm not disregarding that, but it would also be nice that if you are living a more subtle life, that we are shown more complexity in those kinds of characters versus just and this is the gay guy, or this is clearly the lesbian, or this is the transgender. That's just token there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I would really love to see it. I don't like disingenuous inclusivity. I think that's like the big thing that this question really kind of like elicits this is what irks me.
Yeah, and that's kind of like where I was trying to go with it, because it is like one of those topics where it's just like it can really kind of fall into like how we see like just people of color being written, because it's like it's always going to be like, all right, but what do you want to see? And it's like I would just like to see someone of that particular like area, that particular space, to write a character that I can thoroughly enjoy that is not tap dancing for white people.
Yeah. The biggest thing with queer characters oftentimes is like Tegan said, I want queer characters to get the same level of like treatment that the cishet counterparts get. Like I want a queer character to be a whole and well-rounded person. Like, and that includes perhaps messy choices or being like downright the villain in some scenarios, because contrary to what a lot of children online being, like a villain so happening to be gay is not the end of the world. Because there are different people in all walks of life. And the one thing that really gets me about queer representation oftentimes is that it feels very, this is what Hollywood thinks queer people are like.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
exactly
Yes.
the entire thing.
No, not like the queer experience, or like a lot of queer characters. You know, I hate to say it, but it's very clear when a character is written by a queer individual themselves and when they're not. Like, you know, and I'm not, and this isn't me saying that I think cishet people should be barred from writing queer characters. Just like I don't believe like white people should be barred from writing people of color. But I do think you're always going to get a certain level of authenticity that's better and more real and feels more organic, feels better when it comes from an own voices perspective.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we're missing. Like, we're missing queer writers in the writer's room, you know what I mean? We're missing queer directors, we're missing queer authors, we're missing, like, queer artists and all that kind of stuff. And the absence is palpable because a lot of the stuff that we're given, it kind of feels like, you know, it's giving Oliver Twist, please, may I have some more? And it's like, Hollywood's like, oh, fine, here's a white man that says yes, queen. And it's like my brother in Christ. Like, this is not what we're talking about. Like, and like, Tegan, I do believe you said that there is merit in, like, because there are actual queer people who fall into stereotypes. Like, I will never like bash a flamboyant gay man for like living his truth IRL. Just like I don't that if that's how the author depicts one of their queer characters because they themselves love that or, you know, embody that IRL, because there's merit in that, you know. But when that's just kind of like the standard form of the three queer characters in Hollywood is flamboyant white gay man, somewhat butch white lesbian, and then delicate waif of a transgender individual, like, that may or may not be white also, and that has a stupid name like, oh, this is my trans friend Leaf. Like, you know, it gets a little like, okay, what the fuck are we doing here? You know, it really does feel like queer characters have become almost just as pigeonholed as characters of color have been for such a long fucking time, and it's frustrating.
I mean, I would say that both of you gave a more eloquent, direct answer in that capacity than on my end, because, yeah, I can agree with both Teague and Ray said at that point.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, like, because it's like
every white character that you see that is like, oh, this person is LGBT, and it's like, okay, so 100% this person's not going to be a person of color, but their entire personality is going to embody, you know, like my auntie. Why would I want that? Like, I do not want some white kid from like a suburban area, like, pretending to be someone that I grew up with in the projects. You know what I mean? Like, it's such a weird thing. And then when you bring it up in these spaces, like, they're like, oh, well, you're just upset. Like, what am I upset about? Tell me what I'm upset about. It's just the fact that it sucks. It just sucks. Like, I don't want these. It's like, I want characters that are LGBT. Yes. I do not want characters that are legitimately like the stereotype. Like, why do they have to be, you know, like a non-white stereotype, and then everybody like celebrates them for being the stereotype that I'm not allowed to be at all.
Right.
And it's just like, okay, like, I guess maybe this is, it's like, that's what kind of turns me off of like more modern media, like, nowadays, is like, because it's exactly like that. It's just like, oh, well, we have this character, they're gay, and it's like, okay, but they're white, and it's like, okay, you've lost me there. You've lost me there.
And like that, you've lost
It's like what was it? They did that for well, no, it's not. They didn't do it for it's God. What was it? They did that for fucking Pretty Little Liars when they brought it back, but instead they actually used like a black actor for it for like the non-binary character, but they pigeonholed them so hard that the only thing that was like interesting about them was the fact that like oh they're going through really bad relationship problems because they're a teenager. We're going to ignore the murder that's happening in the background. All right.
We're gonna ignore the murder and the fucking straight girl in love and dating her teacher.
No, this is new Pretty Little Liars. Yeah.
You know what? I refer to it as the MCU-ification of queer characters. Because queer characters so often feel so disingenuous to the point where it's like, you are not envisioning a real human being when you imagine this. Because, like, a lot of times the queer characters are like, they'll show up and they'll just be like, sorry guys, I just came back from my pride session with all of my gay friends. And you know what they say? When the rainbow's together, the gays will play. And they look at the camera. And I'm just like, and I'm sitting here. This is exactly why I hate the show Our Flag Means Death, which I'm pretty sure we'll talk about that later.
Put a pin in it.
Because I have a bone to pick. I have a whole skeleton, in fact. But, like, it just really feels like, you know, it's giving MCU, like, fucking before the final battle, they, like, give some quippy one-liner. And fucking Tony Hawk. Tony Stark looks to the camera and smiles and then makes a joke about having money. And I'm supposed to just fucking accept that? Like, you know, well, you know, guys, I'm also gay. And then he punches an alien, and it's like, what are we doing? Like, it's like, it actually makes me feel stupid. You know what I mean? Like, it actually makes me feel like I'm a fucking idiot. Because, what do you mean this is the only way you can write gay people? Is if, like, your gay character turns to the camera and goes, by the way, Black Widow, I saw you have a brother. Is he single? And then they fight aliens. And it's like... it's just... I blame the MCU. Specifically, I blame whichever Russo brother that was in Endgame who thought it would be appropriate to pretend to be a gay man who lost his husband in therapy because Thanos stabbed him into non-existence.
I'm waiting for your Professor Chow to just look at the sprite and go, you know what? They're kind of right, though.
Like, she's kind of eating with that, not gonna lie.
Like it's so interesting to like watch it happen like day by day because it's just like they're just like, oh, you want LGBT, we need more LGBT to watch our show. And it's like it's like I mentioned this before with Ray. I was like, these like Hollywood executives are really trying to pull as much shit out of their ass when it comes to LGBT media, but wrestling's got it in the bag. Like, they don't even have wrestling's not even trying. They gave you 2 women, Io Sky and Rhea Ripley, making like kissy faces at each other, and that was just last night. And then the LGBTs ate that shit up. She pins women as if she's trying to strap them down, and they eat that shit up, and she's aware of that. You know?
Like, I hate to bring up Arcane, but whatever Jason Victor had going on in seasons 1 and 2 of Arcane League of Legends was so much more impactful than a majority of things that have been actually targeted towards gay people. And I think we really need to fucking sit down and unpack that, because I'm sitting here just like, what do you mean? I found Jason Victor's relationship in Arcane more impactful than like a movie about being gay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Also, can I just say, majority of queer media, why is this all about suffering?
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Why can't I have my cool, badass sci-fis and fantasies where the character just happens to not have a conventional relationship and they go off and do cool shit? Like, can I have my cool battles and dramatic moments where, like, I don't know, you're like, oh my god, is this person gonna be set on fire by a dragon? Or, ooh, cool, that was a cool battle scene. But also, if the character just happens to, I don't know, hold hands and kiss another man.
You reminded me of something.
It's no big.
Yeah.
It's just
You know,
like
you just reminded me of it.
I want. No, continue.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No. You're good. That's the thing. I don't have a problem with it. I'm trying to work on that as a whole, like throughout this entire thing. I was gonna say, it gets to like kind of hone in on this authenticity of the character overall for them to not to go through and share stereotypes. And the one example that I'm gonna pull out of my ass that Shell probably knows more than anything. Shell, do you remember The Wire? Did you watch that on HBO?
A little bit of it. I actually did not watch the entire thing.
Do you remember the character of Omar Little?
Yes, I do.
The dude who was going around the hood just robbing people. He was a badass. He was everything else. He was like, you knew he was a villain
Yes.
through and through.
Yes.
And then, like, in one episode in season 1, he just straight up, you find out he's just straight up gay.
Yeah, that's kind of like
He was not the stereotype whatsoever.
like
I was like, oh,
that's the shit I'm looking for. Like I don't. It's like if you're gonna go with like like a character that is like gay, by any means necessary, and you kind of want to have a little bit of fun with it, that
mhm.
like it works. It does work.
Where's my Peaky Blinders level drama, but like the main character happens to be queer?
Let me
Where's
get
my
a little bit of Thomas Shelby.
where's my like I don't know. Where's my Lord of the Rings? Where like the two guys actually like Legolas and Gimli actually smooth. Where
You can have a gay character. Exactly. And like you can have a gay character that's compelling and interesting and fun, who still kind of veers towards a stereotype. And I am referring to Lafayette from True Blood.
He's legitimately the perfect example of a like more gender fluid gay man who was A-okay with his sexuality and his race at the same exact time, to the point where it's like when they challenged him, every time did he deliver. You know what I mean? Like Lafayette legitimately became one of those people where it's just like I saw more black gays wanting to be Lafayette and more white gays like very disappointed, like, oh, he's just aggressive. I'm like, that's the point. That is the point.
That's the point. Because and that is True Blood obviously has its problems, and yes, I do believe if it's coming from a black queer person who has an issue with how Lafayette is written, I do believe any criticism they could have would be valid. But insofar as a character who maybe veers towards a stereotype, but still does enough, in my opinion, to flip it on its head and be an authentic, genuine character, I think is Lafayette. He's one of my favorite characters in TV. I rewatched True Blood for Lafayette.
Okay, I'm not going that far.
And then I just get jump scared by that sex scene between Eric and Snooki's brother. Snooki.
Yeah, that's a legitimate scene. That's a thing that happens.
Between that and it skips a generation, I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? But, no, and TJ, I'm glad you said something, because this is my other biggest gripe with queer media, is I want the full spectrum of queer media. I want queer fantasies, queer rom-coms, and I want us to get to a place where we're okay with shit being mediocre, because cishet people get so much leeway to be mediocre, but when you have a queer media, it has to be the best, most well-written thing ever, or else it's considered a fucking waste of time, and I need us, as a community of queer people, to stop doing that to ourselves. You can be mediocre, it's okay. Shadow Money Wizard Game. We love casting spells. I need the sense of queer, and this is absolutely reinforced by Hollywood, because they want every excuse to not make an effort. You know what I mean? So they're just oh, obviously this movie didn't succeed because of woke, and I'm like, maybe because it wasn't good. Have you ever considered that? Maybe it has absolutely nothing to do with gay people and everything to do with the fact that you people keep writing and rewriting the same dog shit script that you've been using for 40 fucking years and it's not working. Like, let's pick up the pace, Janine.
Would we want to sum up this first question as essentially, from examples from TV shows, games, books, we want to sum it up as essentially, you know how online everybody likes to ship characters because their chemistry is pretty good, and it's like, man, I wish they would just smooch. We want to sum it up as, it would be really nice if that kind of quality was actually just legitimately like, oh, hey, look, chapter 5, they smooch.
Yeah.
Back real quick to like when you brought up like action movies, you made me think about something. There is a movie that it's like I've watched 2 movies. I watched them this year. And it's just like the whole point. Like I think Ray, have you seen Atomic Blonde?
Yes.
Yeah.
One of my favorite movies.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like Atomic Blonde is legitimately. I would also add like because this can actually bleed into another like another question of just like what is really good like queer media that like you've actually like kind of latched onto that isn't Rocky Horror Picture Show. And like Atomic Blonde was legitimately one of them because it's like my review for it was like MI6 agent who goes poorly undercover in Berlin to be a bisexual disaster for a few weeks while being shot at and looks hot while doing so. Like that's all we're asking for. Like she's just going around eating coochie and like shooting people, and then like of course she hits a moment of tragedy, but it's like the entire movie is not about her like going through tragedy. It is about her trying to figure out what the hell's going on.
Like it is about Charlize Theron having really cool fight scenes with absolutely bitchin' music, and then popping her pussy in Berlin and being gay. Like, and it works. It's a spy thriller. It's a bisexual fantasy. It's like got a killer soundtrack. It's good. It's still queer media also, because a lot of people try to argue Atomic Blonde isn't queer media because it's too action focused, and I'm like, bullshit. The star is a bisexual woman played by a bisexual woman.
Also add
For queer media.
I'm about to say, kind of locked the fuck in with that one.
I will also say like another movie which I know Ray won't let me call queer media, but it is unfortunately, is Titane. I'm going to run this movie down as in a very few words, in less than 100 words. Titane is a movie that came out in 2021 about a girl who was who was injured critically in a car accident as a child, and from that point on, she has sexual attraction to cars.
Oh god,
That's not the queer part.
That's not the queer part. But it's like she is actively like an openly bisexual woman. So she is like throughout the movie, she is searching for different relationships. So she ends up like she hooks up with a guy, kills him, but she ends up hooking up with a girl, and then like she enjoys her time with this girl to the point where she's starting to lose her mind because she's pregnant with Optimus Prime.
It's coming back to Peter Cullen's Optimus Prime, and that's why I look up and go, this is the die-hard argument. Go with Titane. And I love all of you, but I don't think the professor needs to hear this argument between all of them.
No, you know what? I'll argue because like if I'm gonna say no, it is queer media because I have to begrudgingly accept that when I say I want all shades of queer media, I mean bad French films as well, even though the French are my mortal fucking enemy.
There's gonna be some French person in this class with this wit.
What did I do? Pourquoi pas?
Well, get your ancestors in the 40s to fix the Maginot line, and then we can talk.
And I'll have a question too. I love all of you, but I'd also still like to eat dinner.
Because it's like from there, like I watched a lot of like movies that just ended up just unironically just queer media. Like there's another one, it's called Kill Bong Soon. It came out in 2023. It legitimately is about like this woman who is a trained assassin in South Korea, and she goes across the world to do her job as an assassin. Like, that's not the queer part. It's the fact that, like, she is legitimately just a mom trying to be a good parent while also trying to get out of the industry. And she finds out that her daughter is a lesbian, and a guy legitimately like took pictures of her, like her daughter and the girl that she likes kissing, and is blackmailing her to be with him instead. So she stabs him. And I was just like, you know what? She's right. My little lesbian girl's right. And when her mom finds out about it, she's more upset that the girl stabbed this young man, rather than her upset that like there are pictures of her going around of her kissing a girl. And at first it does sound like she's homophobic, but she's not. She just doesn't know how to handle it because she's never been in this situation. And now she's going through killing her ex, like her former lover, and trying to make sure that her daughter knows that she's not homophobic. And it's a fantastic movie. It's 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10.
Valentina.
I'll put the movie in the chat for you.
Shit means killing your daughter's homophobic detractors.
I spend a lot of my time watching just movies.
On business? That's dating on business. I love my lesbian daughter so much, I will kill anyone who talks bad about her.
Ally. I will also say, because I think all of us have gotten a chance to watch it, Monkey Man counts. Monkey Man counts as great queer media.
It counts. It counts as queer media.
Like
Higher temple he goes to.
I believe.
Oh my god! Like actually having, like a sect of religion that is legitimately like demonized for them just being openly trans, openly non-binary. I think they actually have another term for like them just being absolutely nothing. Like, but it's like, in seeing like it's such a great movie that it's like, because it's a movie of the like voices that are unheard, and then like being in this like state where you're with them, but they are still like legitimately the most dangerous people in the room. Fantastic, amazing. I will watch it 17 more times after.
I don't know. I will agree with you. That is a good movie.
It's like, can I get 17 more of these awesome queer media bitches?
It's like, because it's like it shows that you really don't have to like jump into the water and just kind of guess your way into like into this media. Like the way he wrote it was legitimately, they are teaching him about not only their religion, but also like what it's like for them to be the unheard. And he's just like, oh, that fucking shit sucks. Gay people rule. Like it's legitimately like that.
It's like, oh shit, gay people are awesome. It's like, yeah, we are.
So it's really interesting that like it's like we're just asking for like new and innovative movies, but we have to get them from people who are like legitimately just trying their best to get their story out. But then we're hit with these like same old movies that are the same story over and over again, or absolute trash that has no plot line, doesn't go anywhere, and then people are just like, well, why didn't you like it? Because it felt like it was written by goddamn AI.
Mm-hmm.
No, I guess queer media feels like the Killmonger logs.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Oh my god, how to surmise it.
That is how I would truly sum it up. It feels like your queer characters in media have to fall into one of a couple things. They have a fro, they have the locks, they have the dreads, or they have the shaved head. That's how it feels.
Yeah, queer media oftentimes feel like Hollywood and game developers being like, Black people have 4 hairstyles.
Once the 4 hairstyles lived in harmony.
That was 2 questions, legitimately.
Yeah, so
oh, you know what? Let me get real spicy with it.
Oh Lord.
So, as all of us are, as a person of color, what is it that angers you the most about being gay?
Alright, we're gonna have to raffle off spots. Who wants to go first?
Fucking white this shit is.
Jesus
Oh
Christ! Right.
my god! No, okay, because you're gonna get this. Like, I'm hitting the hornet's nest with me mallet.
I'm getting me mallet.
The central issue that loops back to queer media, that loops back around to queer culture, is that a lot of it is white people focused, and because specifically a lot of white queer people have not deconstructed their white supremacy or their whiteness before they like enter the queer space. So what happens is that you get a bunch of white queer people who are like, well, I'm queer, so now I'm marginalized, because they do have an access to, they have an in to a marginalization, being gay, and there can be other things combined with that, being disabled, being poor, like that kind of stuff. But if you do not deconstruct from white supremacy, and then you go into an in-group where you are mingling with people of color, like black and brown people, and you have not deconstructed your whiteness is going to get focused. And therefore, you have a lot of white queer people who are overtly sensitive about shit, and have not deconstructed at all from white supremacy, like basically running the show, because again, whiteness is the default. You know what I mean? Whiteness is the attainable, unattainable kind of ideal. So my biggest issue with queer media is that it is white-centric. It is white-focused, because queer culture overall is very white-forward, which is odd also because, you know, white queer people like to co-opt a lot of things from queer people of color, and straight up gentrify certain things. Like, for instance, AAVE. Like, it's fucking frustrating.
I
do not want that the best,
That's a
but-
second. Okay.
Like, it just, yeah. Like, how overwhelmingly white queer culture can be, while also simultaneously co-opting, gentrifying, and straight up appropriating queer people of color culture as well, especially black culture.
It really is, like, because I'm like, if you ever, it's like as much as I like spend time like just being criminally online, like it is legitimately just watching, like, as like little white suburban Timmy over here has put unk into his like vocabulary. Unk and auntie are two different titles that specifically go to a very, 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 very specific like type of person. And y'all are using it just to call your bro, like to get away from saying bro all the time. Shut up. Shut up. It's driving me bonkers. But it's like, oh shit. It's one of those things where it's like, we just have to like have that conversation where it's just where, you know, like, what is pissing me off today? And it turns out it's legitimately
White people.
Oh my god. I guess the question of, as a person of color, what is it that angers you the most about being gay? Overall, I'd say the only thing that's made me angry, because ever since like fully realizing like, well, Adam, you're pansexual, after finding a word for it, because there wasn't really a word given to me, ascribed to me within my own community to describe how I feel so far as my sexuality goes.
Yeah.
I'd have to say it's on the opposite end of the spectrum. Oh, honestly, I kind of have issues with people in our own community, because the judgment is kind of harsher in that respect.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
It's like, it kind of gets harsher, because, like, you know, it's kind of put in our hush things, and like, I've been described to my family, to the few people that do know how I actually am. He's like, oh, he's just a little on the down low, or he's just got some sugar in his tank, or, you know, he's just going out there doing this. And you're viewed as, what makes me angry as a person of color, what makes me angry about, like, being gay in that area is just not being able to be dealt the same respect that other people would automatically receive in that area, not necessarily by people outside of my own race or people in my race, if that makes sense.
It does. I know what you mean, because it's like they always want to put it like under the blanket.
Yeah.
Like they want to like ignore it, and I'm like, we can't ignore this like the way y'all keep ignoring Uncle Joe and his weird hands. You know what I mean? Like y'all, like this is one of those things where it's like,
this isn't how it was when y'all were younger. Like, things are different now. We can actually talk about this. But it's like, it's gotten so bad that it bleeds out into like younger generations to the point where they like legitimately get afraid when like someone in their family is, you know, openly gay, especially when it comes into like black families, because it's like y'all want to put everything under the table so bad but don't want to like admit that y'all are at fault somewhere. Like, we have to have that conversation, but they won't. They're never going to.
No, it's going to be a long time before the conversation is had.
Yeah.
I've had, like, I didn't know if that was Ray or Teague, if they were coming in to answer. I didn't want to be too long-winded with it.
No, I said, oh yeah, because I was agreeing.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I tried to be quiet, so I did interrupt, because if I said, oh yeah, like out loud, really loud.
Oh yeah.
Guy.
Yeah. No, but it again is just the fact that, I mean, I think you described it perfectly, that within our own community, or specifically for the people who are listening to this, your professor, like within the African American Black community, it's always kept under the, or it's always like denied. And the thing that's always made me angry about that is like, why can't you just accept this?
Oh yeah.
It's not something terrible. Like, this is going to go into like a deep personal thing. When I was younger and I was told about relationships, because they were like, you know, curious feelings, you sit up there and go like, oh, maybe I'm bi, maybe I'm just like this one dude that we go through and I want dog, like first boyfriend's name and stuff like that. But from the mother's perspective, the thing that she told me is like, Adam, it doesn't matter if they're white, black, yellow, brown, you know, yellow, blue polka dots, anything like that. Like, as long as you love them and they love you, it's to just accept it, because love is an amazing thing. You're supposed to be sharing. That was a lesson given to me when I was younger. When they thought I just like went ball game when I said, okay, I'm pansexual and there are other things on the table. And then suddenly the lesson went out the window, and that was something that irked me to this day, where I'm like, you accept it when it's this way, but you don't accept it when it's that way.
Yeah, and it's really confusing. Like, you're giving me mixed signals, but then you're surprised that I don't know what to say and how to handle that.
Yeah, but it would just be like, I'm trying to surmise it so that we can like jump into Teague's answer at that point.
Oh yeah.
Just the fact that within our own community, it isn't accepted as a whole. It's kept secretive. It's brushed under the rug because we have our own issues within the community that we need to like resolve so that we can move forward. There's something to the overall statement there, but and I don't want to be long-winded with it. But
Yeah. How do you feel?
What's on your mind?
I guess it's expectations and then falling short of those expectations. If I have to get personal for a moment without, being super in depth about it. My journey thus far has been like, man, as a child, I loved everybody and I had a great time, and then it's like you get into your teen years and it's like, okay, maybe I like girls and guys, or maybe I thought I liked just guys, and then it bled into the whole, well, how do I see myself? Because for a long while it felt like I didn't really acknowledge, oh, well, you're in a feminine body, but like I don't always act it. But then again, what does it mean to be feminine or masculine or anything in between? And at the end of the day, it would be like, why can't I just be me? And I really don't know how to describe myself most days, and so it's, I guess on a comforting level, it is nice that we have terms like non-binary, because it's like, I feel like this is my niche, this is where I fit, but I also find like I kind of hate that everybody will have an idea of what it means if you were to be like, oh, I identify as non-binary, or my pronouns could be whatever at this point. They, them, he, she. I could one day feel more like this and the next day feel more like that. Or, hey, I dressed maybe in a very neutral way, so I guess whatever you're feeling in that moment or you think I might be, feel free, go ahead. I'll probably respond to it. And then to add the layer of being a mixed individual, that also comes with expectations of, I guess, almost like people are shocked if you don't fall into a stereotype, but then they're also shocked when you do fall into a stereotype. If I were to add like a little, it's like no one's surprised that I like chicken. Being in a
God.
chicken and rice is a normal default go-to thing. The chicken could be roasted, it could be fried, it could be, but you know, chicken, rice, and beans. That is pretty much, that was normal in the house.
No, exactly. They're not lying.
No, our grandma, that was kind of her default. She's Puerto Rican. This is what she would do, right? You wanted crunchy chip-like things. She would make the fried plantains, and those are just little isms from where she grew up. What made for a nice snack, that kind of stuff. And I find myself very frustrated when it's like, okay, I don't like it when it's like, if you say, oh, well, you know, I'm queer, and maybe you don't elaborate to your average person where you fall into those categories. It's like they have this expectation of you on that, and then if they notice, like, oh, you're mixed, well, what are you? And, well, how come you're Hispanic, but then you don't speak a lick of Spanish? Because I wasn't raised at the time in a household that did both of those languages openly enough for me to learn. By the time our grandmother started living with us, Ray had more of an opportunity to pick up on some stuff that I didn't. And at times it pisses me off when people remind me of that. Best example I could pull of that is when I did my first job working with horses, and I worked at a particular barn. I won't make mention of where, just for safety's sake. But
Damn, I was trying to dox him.
A particular lady spoke to me and was like, "Wow, you speak English really well. How long did it take you to learn how to speak English?" And I smiled and I'm like, "Well, I was born in California, so I've lived here my whole life, and that's the default language both my parents speak. So I speak what they speak. You know what I mean?"
Yeah.
Like, I hate this. Like, why can't you just take me at what I am at any given point and what I'm doing in that time? Like, my hard work should speak for itself. My personality should come through crystal clear. So you should know how I am about things, and then that these are the things that I feel matter to me. And in any given moment, it's like, you know what? Kindly fuck off if I don't fall into this little puzzle piece that you're expecting me to be.
Yeah. Like, I also want to just extrapolate on this point, like, this whole being queer as a performance. I will say as AFAB individuals, like, the expectation is way more severe. And I do believe a lot of people within the queer community level with me here have not done any work to undo any kind of internalized misogyny. So the expectation to look visibly queer for an AFAB individual is very high. The expectation as a non-binary person, they expect you to have androgyny to any varying degree. as a lesbian, they expect me to look a certain way, and when I don't, because I dress like whatever. To be fair, I dress like I've dressed for the last 15 years, which is a bored Hot Topic employee. And like, it just, the expectation of performance, like the expectation of visible queerness and all that kind of stuff, or just the expectation that if you identify as X, you have to fit into a certain visual style, like TJ was saying, or you have to fit into a certain set of behaviors, is very, very frustrating. And if I could be so bold as to loop that into when I was complaining about how white queer people do not deconstruct whiteness before they enter the queer space, that expectation of performance of certain queer, I should say, values or stereotypes can directly be linked to tenets of white supremacy, because they expect you to serve, look, and appeal to certain functions within society. And because that pressure is now being transferred over into the queer sector, it's very showing and very, it's very telling, I should say, of the fact that a lot of people have not deconstructed their whiteness before they enter the queer community, because that expectation of performance is a value of white supremacy that has no business being applied to, queer identities.
Yeah.
Just the whole expectation thing, because I'm not sure if we're gonna get that quote right. I think at one point you had said well, the non-binary bitch, your rules don't apply to me. Like that entire thing there, I was like, yeah.
I think I might be non-binary, but I gotta go to work in the morning.
Yeah, I think about that fucking tweet that's like, I think I'm non-binary, but I got work right now, so I don't really care about that. Me, honestly.
But overall, I think it's good answers all around. Just the expectation, the fact that it's not their expectations upon you because you're a person of color to fit into certain roles. The fact that within our own communities, it's not addressed and it's kind of pushed away because no one wants to acknowledge it and normalize it. That entire thing, that definitely sparks a bit of anger in most people, I feel, when it comes to that kind of thing. And frustration. It's a lot of frustration.
There's just that it boils into anger, because I feel like a lot of us, it's like the Ray, I'm gonna steal one of your sayings for a moment here. It's that one finger on the monkey's paw kind of deal, where there's a constant undertone of frustration. Okay, if I feel like I fall into this category, then there will be expectations first and foremost of, if I say I identify as this, then I have to dress a certain way, speak a certain way, carry myself a certain way, act a certain way. I have to be this way. And then when you layer that onto the topic of race, alongside that first layer, then you have to be great, so there will be the secondary expectation of depending on where you come from or what people think you come from, okay, I have to like these certain foods, dress a certain way, I have to like this certain style of music, and then I have to be or wear my hair in this way or that, and then it winds up getting to a point where you're like, well, fuck, man, can I
buy a vowel?
I should not be sitting here being like, my first thought should not be, oh god, a second expectation has hit the towers. Like, what the fuck is happening?
I once, again, I guess I got a good taste of it at my first barn job, but there was a variety of people I worked with, and I think my favorite was my bosses, because they didn't give a damn where you came from, what you look like. The only thing they were ever concerned about from you when you worked there was, how good did you work? Did you do an honest job? Did you work your hardest to make sure horses were fed, stalls were clean, fresh hay was divvied out. Did you make sure the bathroom was restocked? Were you able to dust things and sweep stuff? And then, hey, when you said, hey, I got all of my tasks done for the day, did you do those tasks, or are you going to be lying through your teeth? They didn't give a damn about anything else. You could have said, like, hey, I'm, like, from Krypton, and I can fly and shoot lasers out my eyes, and he would just look at you and be like, yeah, but
do you work though?
Yeah, like did you do that? I think that was like the realization, like, okay, not everybody's going to have these weird undertones of thinking because I look this way, or carry myself this way, or speak this way. Like, it is grounding to know that there are people out there that will literally just be like, okay, cool, don't be an asshole and we won't have a problem.
Yeah,
The most gratifying moment of my life when someone visibly looked at me and asked if I was either, like, because it was my coworker, her name is Danielle, and she looked at me, she's like, I need to ask you, like, because she had seen Mom help me bring something into the building for, like, an office party, and she's like, I've been meaning to ask, are you Puerto Rican or Dominican? Because I saw your mom. And I'm like, oh my god, you were the first person who hasn't asked me if I was Mexican. Like, like, when you meet a queer person who, like, fucking understands the expectations, and they can just, like, meet you where you're at, and it feels genuine, because that was a very genuine moment for me. I told her, you're the first person who's ever correctly guessed like what type of Latino I am, because let me tell you, I get everything but Puerto Rican. Like,
so that brings up another thing, and I guess this is a little bit of a segue, but it's still kind of a topic. Brief moments where you could feel very seen in media, and I'll either get beat for this or not, but we were sitting in the theater to watch Across the Spider-Verse.
Oh my god, yeah. Oh my god, I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. The lady was, the school counselor was coming up with, like, you're a struggling family, and the mom, Miles Morales' mom,
Rio?
Rio. Actually, Puerto Rico is an American territory. So, like, that being said, and then me being like, yes! Oh my god, somebody finally fucking says it! Because I cannot tell you the amount of times you mentioned, oh, well, my mom and my grandma are Puerto Rican on one side, and then, we've got, like, Irish, Scottish, and Italian on the other, from our dad's side of the family, and they just hone in on Puerto Rican, and it's either, what part of Mexico is that? Or is Puerto Rico the capital of Mexico? And I just want to know who went around beating the snot out of people to the point where the only Latin thing they can think of is Mexico exists. And every person whose Latin comes from it.
Education system failed us.
Yeah.
Severely.
What was I about to say to loop it into the feeling of fairness? I had a thought.
While Ray is thinking, I can actually answer that question, and I will, like, my, because that is one of the questions I have on there, but it's worded differently. But it's like the one piece of media that really stuck with me is legitimately, and I'm going to start this off with the controversy. It started off with controversy because of fucking Dragon Age coming out. Everybody and their mama is jumping on the fact that, like, oh, you can be transgender and talk to Lucanus about transgender? And it's like, okay, there's a back button. You don't have to talk about that. But then I realized a lot of people did not play this game because the entirety of Tasha's quest is learning about being technically brown in LGBT and having to come out to your mom of all people. And when I played through Tasha's quest, like I had to sit there in pure silence for a bit because I was legitimately tearing up because it was just like it's like I did not have this conversation with my mom until years later. But it was legitimately like my mom wasn't mad about it. She wasn't angry when I told it. But like seeing Tasha's point of view where they're legitimately scared. They are scared. And I'm like, I felt this because you're coming from a very religious household where you have to be 100% for the religion that your parents grew up in, which is just their mom. And you have to learn everything about this religion, and you have to sit there and deal with it and not break the mold. And then when you do break the mold, then you get all those fucking questions. They follow up so quickly. Why don't you want to be a part of our religion? Why don't you? Do you not feel the way you're supposed to feel? Do you not feel your race? Do you feel like you're betraying your race? And it's like, and I brought it up to Ray. I was like, this is both a story about someone who is mixed and a story of someone who was black at the same exact time. And then I sat there and I'm like, who the fuck wrote this? It's fucking Patrick Weeks.
Patrick Weeks.
He's done it again.
No, and then can I just be honest and say that Tasha's also very affirming in the we can tell which one of your parents is the non-white one sector.
Yeah.
His mixed kid, Tegan, you and I are very, very, very visibly, and like personality, social wise, all that kind of stuff, very visibly mixed kids with a person of color mom, and not a white one. Because Tegan, I know for a fucking fact some of the people we've known, one of them you've even dated. You can tell when a mixed kid has a white mother. You know exactly who I'm talking about, T.
But
we're not here to unpack that.
but it's like it's legitimately like it's a one in a lifetime thing where you come across characters who are legitimately like a slap in the face of reality. You know what I mean? Like I was a big fan, or still am technically. Like I've always been a fan of Spider-Man, despite how I am. But it's like, you know, you have that one specific line from, you know, from Big Stan, where he's just like, anyone who puts on the mask is still Spider-Man, you know.
Yeah.
And then we get Miles Morales, and we hit, and that's like that's the high point. That is the beginning of that fucking weird woke behavior where people were like, why do we need a black Spider-Man? Like, yeah, it's like, you do know, like, the multiverse is a thing. Like, there are hundreds and thousands of multiverses, and Miles just happens to be the one where he is not like in the comics at one point was not taking over for Peter, but working alongside him. And then becoming the strongest in the most important spider of all of them, next to Peter. And then people are just like, well, we don't need them. And then you watch the movies, and you have all of those legitimately, despite the fact that Miguel has always been there, Miguel becomes the voice of everybody. We're just like, why do we need him? We don't need him. Like, he's not supposed to be here. And then it's again a slap in the face of reality. And then, like I said, with Tosh, it was legitimately just me sitting there because, like, all you kept hearing from Tasha's mom was, why do you always act like them? Why do you act like you want to be like them? Why do you want to be a man? Why do you want to dress like a man? You should dress more feminine. You should be more like a woman. You should stop eating all the time because you act like them. And it's just like, oh God. And it kind of made me nauseous at one point because it's like, it was legitimately reality forming in front of me. And I just had to like, at one point, just got to get the quest over with because, and it's like, and I hate diplomatic roles in all Dragon Age games. I hate them with a passion, but I hate being mean to my friends. And I kept taking, like, I didn't want to crack jokes because it's like in that point, it just felt wrong to crack a joke. Cause it's just like, if you play it in the sense of like how your rook is, which mine is transitioned, then it's like, then you're just like, oh shit, like, did I go through this, as a character? But this, like, mentally I'm like, oh shit. And then like going through and then learning that like the majority of the Shadow Dragons is legitimately sponsored by my Varys and Dorian fucking Pavis, of all people, who we're not surprised about, and the Black Divine, but we won't talk about that part.
Because I think most people out there in the world don't play this. Like, I haven't played this game yet. Hold on.
That's a passing comment, and it's weird, but that's not the point. But most of the people in the Shadow Dragons are transgender or gay. And it's not brought up until you talk to Tosh, where everybody's just like, why is Dorian actually a part of this group? And it's like, if you never read the comics, you don't know the whole purpose of Varys Telani, who is the most important openly trans character in the entire series. Because if it wasn't for her and Dorian, they wouldn't even have gay people in the Magistrate. Like, they were the first two who actively pushed forward to make sure that you could see other people who were gay or trans or whatever in the Magistrate. So it's just like, it's them two legitimately holding Tasha's hand going, don't worry, we found other people like you that will tell you their story. And the whole thing is basically just that, the rest of the quest. So it's just... Oh, go ahead, sorry.
I was just... No, I was just looking at Garner. I was like, no, that did definitely expand on, like, the question of, as a person of color, what is that... What is it that angers you most about being gay? And I also feel like the other question you kind of fielded, where you're like, how do you really feel about LGBT video game character? You're like, you kind of hit both notes in that regard.
Oh, yeah. Of which... Let's take a kinder note and jump into that one. Like, how do you feel about like LGBT characters from medias that you've actually played, watched, or enjoyed recently?
Excellent. I want 50 more of these little bitches. Whatever Jace and Victor have going on in Arcane, put it in everything. I need gay divorces in everything. As it is. Like, I need gay people to get divorced as much as I need just, like, a hot baddie who's going through it, fighting Diablo 4 Vessel of Hatred.
Poor Mel.
I'm just going through it.
Like, I guess how I really feel about LGBT video game characters is I appreciate when they're there, because to date it back, is like, we're all generally nerdy in this thing. Like, video games have been a piece of media that I've consumed from a very early age.
Yeah.
So as I grew up with them and seeing it start to stretch away from, like, I guess what I'll use at this point is, like, from the action hero games and stuff like that to running with their several different layers. And we started introducing, like, gay characters and, like, non-binary characters, and you started reaching out to, then there are women loving women. And going, like, being able to grow up alongside that, I really can't appreciate when an LGBT video game character is presented, especially when they're written correctly. And so far as, like, I think there's another question you mentioned, is, like, who is your favorite and why? And, like, this is kind of a model question with that regard, considering I played the DLC and everything else. And I also don't know what the voice actor is. I'm trying to separate art from artist.
Who is it?
It's Iron Bull from Dragon Age Inquisition.
Oh, yeah.
Still have to say, yeah, no, so it was definitely, because, like, I'm like, what the fuck did Freddie Prinze Jr. do? Okay. Like, when that game initially came out, like, rewinding time, because I think Tegan was the one who told me, is like, oh, there's a Kanara character, and, like, they're pansexual, and, like, you can romance them no matter who you are. I was like, really, like, doing that. And I think, no, legitimately, like, anytime I see, like, a big, like, character, like, because I'm a big dude.
Oh, yeah.
Anytime I see a big character who falls underneath my flag or anything like that, I'm like, you have my attention. Now hold on to it. And the reason I say that is because of the why. Is because, like, everything about the pansexual aspects of this character was everything I wanted, I guess, in a flip of reality, where it was just accepted. Whereas, like, yeah, they're not gonna. I don't know. I guess I could try and, like, it's like when Iron Bull's coming up, he's like, why are they gonna question what I'm into? Like, that type of thing, because they didn't really care about it at that point. Going on from there, it was Just to change the mindset, it was a more accurate representation of the character being able to be themselves while also having the label pansexual.
That's what I really
And
liked
being able
about
to-
Bull. Like 100% was the
and
fact
being
that he
able
was
to
like that.
express it freely with the characters that were built around them just accepting it. And furthermore, to go on to that is their relationship with Krim, who, like, you know, if you played that game, learn the entire story of that character, the fact that Bull just said, if you're a man, you're a man. It doesn't matter to me whether you piss standing up or you end up doing something different. Like, if you're with us, you're with us. All I care about is whether or not you can fight and if you're going to be a genuine person. Like, that entire thing, I was like, this is someone that BioWare got it right, and I didn't expect to see that. Like, just normalcy in something that's not considered normal so far as the realm of video game characters go.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I guess that would be my answer to the video game question.
Yeah. Like Bull being introduced as like the one that just kind of was like a no nonsense type of person. Like it's like he was legitimately just like, I am here for you and you only. And like no one really has to pick a side. You just have to be a real person. And then like his romance just being like chaotically goofy was so healing. And it's like I may have my gripes about romancing Bull. Just because it's like he wasn't for me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like I'm not really like a blunt person. Like it's like where it's like you romance someone who's just completely blunt. They're like telling you, I want to be with you. I want to fuck you. Like like, and that's kind of how like Tasha's romance is. But I'm like, apparently that's just how Kunari are. But that's here nor there. But once you really get into it, like for Bull, it was very much just like, you get to be silly. You get to like explore, like this is a character who's like really into his sexuality and wants to like have you safely explore it, and is legitimately not just body positive, but like BDSM positive. And it's crazy because you don't get stuff like that in video games anymore.
Yeah, you don't, because like there's just I don't even know if I can go into that as an example, but the realness of their character when they were initially introduced as just, this is like, pan representation in the world of Dragon Age. So far as I'm sure there are other characters that I'm sort of missing out on. Anyone who has a deeper understanding of the history, i.e., you, Teague, and Ray, could probably tell me different at some point. But at that point in time, having them presented, it's still, to this day, even though I have my gripes and throw my hands in the air for the choices that were made in the DLC, so far as like a favorite, I still have to say to them because they were genuinely written as a person who was just themselves, and it wasn't pansexual first. It was something you found out later on.
Yeah.
And it was just, and that's what essentially I crave in reality and fantasy in the realm of media that I consume, is just being able to be yourself, and that you don't have like a hashtag of a tagline like presented first.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
I was like, that makes sense. Because in like in Veilguard, when you go to the Lords of Fortune, I almost said Lords of Change again, but when you go to the Lords of Fortune,
when you go to Siege, you get the Lords of Change from Warhammer 40k.
Like when you go there and you kind of wander around, there is this Ferelden warrior and a Kunari who is legitimately born and raised in the circle. Like she has this full conversation with this, like every time you come back, because they're having a new conversation, but it's like they keep talking about like how they're like Kunari who are not a part of the Kun are just trying to like live happily in new areas while trying to find love, but a lot of them are just kind of like seen as like super scary. But she's like actively trying to hit on this woman by giving her history of their people, and it's really interesting because it's just like it's like what we've seen of like Bull and Tosh like is one side of the coin, and then you have Sten, you know what I mean? And then Sten's just like, I'm just here for my Kedan, that's it, don't bother me, don't talk to me, don't call me, do not send ravens. I am on fucking airplane mode. Do not contact me if I'm with my partner. And it's like, he never even specifies if like, they never specify if you're not actually sleeping around with Sten. But Sten is just like, everyone he worked with is his Kedan. And that is important because then it's just like, damn, are we just in a big polycule? Are we just
I'm
the
telling
polycule?
you, the Origins party is just a polycule, like, and also Shale is there. He's my rock. Sorry.
But then like I'll also like kind of dip into like a lot of like more recent games that are actually, you know, or other games that's not Dragon Age or fucking Mass Effect, because we know how those two games work. I would say like
Before we go into that, I will be right back.
yeah, go ahead. I'm actively trying my best to like shade this, and I was like, oh no, this is about to take me as long as fucking Azrael's is. Azrael's taking me fucking forever. And the crazy thing is that I have references for Azrael, and that's what's pissing me off.
Is that another man who supports Black and Brown versus
Yes. Because
I too would risk it all for my drifter.
current version and iteration of Azrael, yes. I would absolutely do it. Like, that's the bike we're working with, and I'm just like, I hate this.
Let me see.
Like the Tenno, I think is this the Tenno site or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, something like that.
But it's like, oh my Jesus Christ, oh my Jesus Lord, this. Why did I do this? I don't know how bikes work. I'm too afraid to ask.
Well, you turn it on, right, and then you hit the pedal, and it goes forward.
It doesn't have a pedal.
I hope this helps.
Sorry, for 3 seconds I realized I wasn't like doing this from my computer, and I was like, why can I not reconnect? Okay. Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you in that regard. I was just saying that me and Teague may have to pop off.
Yeah.
I didn't know if there was like a specific question you wanted to ask me or then focus on before we head out.
I have like one other. I'm trying to remember which one it is, and then we can wrap it up from there.
Oh, fire it at me. Load the chamber.
All right. Are you guys ready?
Yep.
Let me. Yeah. Okay, they're ready.
Yeah. Thank God. Finally.
Let me see. So this one is. So yeah, we can definitely wrap up on this one. Because we can kind of combine two into one. And it kind of rolls back into like just like racial and LGBT kind of like aspects. So it's just, what is one annoying stereotype about race and gender that really gets under your skin when it happens in real life or media? And then with like why that particular media in the first place? And I know what Ray's going to jump into, so Ray, you're going to have to hold on to what we do in the shadows. Hold your voice.
I heard the Henry like the Cavill like fist punch animation.
I'm fucking loading my arms. Thank God. Finally.
No, I'm trying to think of a concise answer, so forgive me for saying "oh man" like over and over again.
No, you're fine, because that one legitimately is a hard question.
No, it is. It's the most annoying stereotype about race and gender that really gets under your skin. Happens in real life or in media. So many at that point.
Oh, it's a bunch. Like,
no, it's because you know what I'm talking about. I immediately pulled up my list, dusted off the tome, and I was like getting ready to take a deep. I actually might have to let Ray or Teague like go into it and then come back to you on that one. Let's
see. Most annoying stereotype about. I'll tackle race first. The expectation that I need to like gaudy jewelry, loud pattern clothes, that I magically know how to cook, and I have a talent for cleaning.
oh yeah,
First of all, okay, so in the Latin community, and I catch our paler individuals out there pulling this shit a lot. I clean because it is a way for me to feel in control of my surroundings.
yeah, I can understand that.
I'm anxious. I clean when I'm in a good mood, because I feel like if I do a good job and I clean the space, it makes me feel like at the end of the day I have done something good. So, and I pride myself if it is my job to get something clean or organized, and I'm compensated for it, i.e. my janitorial work that I've done, or even, again, referencing my barn jobs, making sure I did my job, but I did my job very well, which was a lesson we learned from our father. He has always instilled in us, whether your job was stacking boxes in a warehouse or building a rocket to space, you do your best. And you just go with that. So, a stereotype about race that absolutely makes me want to rip out all of my teeth, shove them up my ass, and spit them into somebody's face again, is, why is cleanliness objectively lumped in as, oh, that's a Latin thing. You guys are really good at cleaning stuff. When it's like, no, it is not. As far as a gender stereotype that I hate, being AFAB, it also relates to cleaning. Just because I have the body parts that I do does not mean that is what's giving me the ability to clean my environment or surroundings, maintain a house. I hate that. I loathe that, and anytime I hear anybody even so much as crack a joke about getting the kitchen or oh, you want a new vacuum? No, I want a new vacuum that picks up pet dander, so in the middle of the night, if I accidentally sleep with my mouth open, I'm not choking on my dog or my cat's hair. I don't want a new vacuum because, oh, honey, I can't believe you gave me this. The only thing I eat, breathe, and live for, you know? Like, oh, I hate that.
That's fair.
That's my one little tangent about racism.
You want to know what I'm like? I agree with you 100%, but I know who we can blame for that. Fucking Jennifer Lopez. Fuck J-Lo.
I think we could go broad spectrum with it. I blame JLo for everything in my life that goes wrong. my intelligence to the work enough, I can tangentially make it her fault through the butterfly effect.
Oh, it's absolutely her fault every time. Every time.
J-Lo's ancestor 40 billion years ago was the first fish to decide it wanted to walk its buck ass on land, and now I have to pay taxes. So
not this generational evolutionary thing. You said broad spectrum. I didn't think we were going that far back. Okay.
Everything that woman has done has been a lie.
Very much. Please know that as your friend for many, many years. What's the most annoying stereotype about race? I think I'm going to answer it in part.
Yeah.
The most annoying stereotype about my race is that you were expected at any point in given time to immediately act as if you're from the inner city as a whole. That is your only personality. That is your only being in place in life, is to live to the mock-up of social media that media has given to what Black people are supposed to be. You're supposed to immediately know AAVE, because the one thing I'll say, Chill, and I know your eyebrows going to twitch when you hear it, is how many times has someone come to you and said, "Wow, you speak so well for someone of yours," and then they stop.
So that is one thing I hate the most, because they do that shit a lot in movies, where they're for example, fucking Akilah and the Bee.
Yeah.
It's not queer media, but it's Black media. You know what I mean? Where it's just they're oh, she really likes to spell. She's really good at spelling. And then everybody's just well, she's really good at speaking. And it's just that's what happens when you read fucking books. Because code switching is so common that it doesn't matter what you sound like. You're still going to get that line of, wow. Because I almost had to cuss out I almost cussed out my mom's boss for this. Because she was just oh, you're very well spoken. Girl, I will punch you in the fucking throat right now.
Yeah, no, that's Yeah, and that's a line that I guess with many people who haven't had that presented to them is just a line for, wow, I didn't expect that from you, a person of color, because the most annoying stereotype or all the stereotypes about race when it comes to African American and black people in general is that you're supposed to fit this mock up of what other people see you as instead of seeing you as the person you are as a whole. Like I've always identified myself as an Adam first, and then a black man named Adam. That's how it's always been. Like, because I always wanted to go and like, okay, well, I mean, that's to be honest, like I kind of can root that into how me, Teague, and Ray became like really close friends in that regard. Is that we didn't really care about what we were; we cared about who we were in that respect.
Mm-hmm.
And it just irks the ever loving shit out of me whenever someone's like, "Oh, you're not like this," or "You're not like the other black people I've met," or "You're not like." I'm even facing it with my job now that will remain unnamed for safety reasons. Is that
Damn, I can't dox him
I'm
either.
the only. Yeah, no, I don't want to. I don't know how far that person's reach goes. But the one annoying thing is, I live this in every respect. Is that I was expected to fit a stereotype, and when I broke that, it just confused and irritated the hell out of some people. I am the only person of color in that position at my place of work. And it's really shitty and just irritates me the fact that, no, you're supposed to be this, you're supposed to be this, you're supposed to be this. Like, again, way back earlier in the beginning of this recording, when I was like, oh, you're supposed to be the typical black person. You're supposed to act this way, act this way, and act this way. And when you don't, I look up and go like, what do you mean? And so far as gender goes, like that's a really, really long list of things that get under my skin because I am like male in that respect. Like the fact that people have these expectations and a list of how you're supposed to behave. Like you're always supposed to be brusque, like you're always supposed to like put your emotions underneath things. As a whole, you're not supposed to really get in touch with the communicative side of yourself. And which really like the past like I have to say I'm 32 now. The past like since I was 17, I kind of my father served as a representation of what a stereotypical black male was. And I sought to make myself different from that because I was like, this isn't how we have to be. We don't have to fit the stereotype.
We's free now.
Yeah, you can sum it up as we're free now. So we've moved away from the need to fit into a stereotype in order to progress in life. Like you don't have to fit the mock-up that society, media, and everything else is put out there. The fact that I can see like any aspect of media where the black person isn't immediately presented as a hood figure, I look at it and just go like, okay, this is a step forward. And I get really happy about that, at least in that regard. And back to the
celebration every time a black character is introduced, and it's not with rap music.
Yeah,
oh my god, yeah.
We don't even have time to go into that right now because that'll be a 4-hour.
That's an entirely new monster.
That's an entirely different podcast. When Shell has a music theory class or something like that, we can get into that.
Oh my
I
god.
have a list.
Oh my god.
I'm coming from people who wrote Suicide Squad.
With a guitar flourish.
With a guitar.
Guitar flourish.
Or like a Latino character is not introduced with like straight cholo music, like God, like reggaeton.
The day a handsome Spanish man doesn't show up with like the guitar playing in the background will be the newest day we've ever had.
What was the music that played when Lucanus was introduced? Because I think we might have actually broken the mold.
No, he didn't have the Spanish guitar.
Oh my god, we've achieved it.
Like his theme is, you know, like since they're in Antiva, I guess maybe, you know, but you know, it's like it wasn't like that traditional like the trill you hear in every fucking piece of media.
Yeah, no, I know exactly which one you're talking about because I'm thinking of mariachi or like I don't know, I can't remember what the movie is with Antonio Banderas and like he's the hitman mariachi thing. Like I can't remember.
I know what you mean. I know exactly which one you mean.
You know what I mean.
Yeah.
Every time he's introduced us to and I'm like, you could stop.
It's like because it's becoming that thing where it's like the Wilhelm scream.
Yeah, and I get that, but hopefully in that regard, I'm trying to like squeeze it down into like the specific answer. But I guess the most annoying stereotype about race is that we are expected to fit a mock-up that we did not ourselves get to choose.
Mm-hmm.
And so far as gender, it goes in the same regard, because you should be able to be yourself first. And every step that we take away in media as a whole that takes 1 or 2 steps away from that, I can actually be happy about it. I think we referenced it, and I guess this ties in earlier. Miles Morales' dad, the African American aspect of his like biracial nature, was unlike the rest of the black fathers that I had seen. Like, he's looking forward to, like, kid, I love you. I just want to steer you in the right path, and everything else in life, instead of just being like giving him the tough love speech and, you know, man up and doing everything. He actually was saying he listened for him. But again, I can go on an entire like winding road, because there are a lot of gripes to have with the stereotypes of how you're not supposed to be one way, but you're supposed to fit another way, that can overall like lead this to a very, very long conversation. We'll come back to this in another Discord call or rat chat like Destiny session. We'll come back.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But for now, like I was gonna say, I don't know if we need like an outro thing or not, but I do have to pop up the podcast.
Yeah, no, but it's like basically, I thank you guys for helping me out with this one, especially with the fact that like this was very last second, and I just needed to re-record from what happened from the previous fucking one.
If we have to record this a third time,
I will lose my fucking shit.
If we have to record this a third time, I will do it, but it is going to be one sentence.
But
off next
Jim
one.
Floater card game last night. Do women deserve rights?
wait, no. To wrap this up and with our final goodbye, I think Ray should ask that one controversial question one more time. And the controversial question was, do you think that polyamorous relationships are inherently queer?
No.
Yes. I mean, to be honest, yeah, inherently queer and never. I guess I can't say this because I am in a polycule. Like, I am pansexual and polyamorous. Like, I can believe and do believe that they are inherently queer.
Yeah.
Like, in that regard, because even if it doesn't come down to physical love between, like, let's say you have a man and a woman go, but even if it doesn't come down to physical love with the, like, physical intimacy, I should say, not love, that's the wrong word. Even if there's no physical intimacy between those two parties, let's say, like, the two males, the two females in that regard, there's still love and expression of emotion leaning towards that same kind of love that you would feel as if you were in a, like, it's a very muddled answer.
Yeah. But no, I get you.
I give it a straight answer, like Teague said. I'd say yes, they're inherently queer.
From my perspective on it, it's you could have two people that like the third, right? And it's a functional triangle, right?
Mm-hmm.
But all individuals would have that close bond. Love, I feel, transcends upon not just it's not just from a sexual standpoint. You have your emotions that get heavily involved in it, and I do feel like for polyamory on any level to work, you would have to have those of, let's say, more masculine standing be in tune with their emotions, because it's not going to work otherwise. And from your more feminine side of things, you have to kind of override the, it's got to be all about me and my needs and everything else, and you have to be able to go like, all right, everyone has a part in this, and it really boils down to y'all have to love trying to communicate with each other, even if the communication isn't always great or you don't always articulate things in the best way possible. And I think that inherently is something that in a classic straight relationship you're never going to get, because I would love to know, point me in the direction of any spec of media or otherwise that shows a man wanting to be willing to open up all about his internal thoughts and feelings in a healthy, conveyable manner to the recipient. Oftentimes, a woman who will also be usually portrayed as either very needy or very obtuse for things, and I just feel like in a poly relationship, regardless of who might be in bed with who or who's holding hands with who in that moment, I just feel like it requires the kind of things that you're only really going to find in queer spaces.
Yeah.
Quite honest.
Yeah.
But
So, to sum up, are polys inherently queer, gay, what have you? I would say, yeah, they are, because it challenges a lot of things that your typical straight relationship doesn't like to do. Nobody wants to talk about their feelings. No one really wants to communicate about issues, big or small. And then usually at some point, someone's just doing a lot of taking and someone's doing a lot of giving, and there's not a lot of balance in your typical straight one-on-one relationship.
yeah.
And polys will work on that. They will be doomed to fail if they abide by those rules.
Okay. Thank you. It's like I got a lot of like mixed answers on that one from a lot of my polyamorous friends, and I really wanted to know like your answer on that one too, because I do have another friend who was just like
kicking the hornet's nest.
yeah, like our friend, like another friend of ours was like, no, because you can just be a straight couple, a straight one, and then like where it says this one girl and then she's dating two separate guys who don't like each other, stuff like that. And I was like, that, inherently weird stuff. But I like knowing everybody's answer to that question in particular, because it's a very interesting take that everyone else has. But again, thank you guys. Thank you for everything. Thank you for wasting legitimately 2 hours with me.
I appreciate it. I just feel like we could have gone all night.
Yeah, we really could have, but it's like I don't want to keep you guys up. I know.
You don't understand.
I had to stop myself.
No, you don't understand. Chell and I, when it's just me and them on the weekends late at night, we will be on PSN 7-hour-long call, absolutely fucking yapping. Absolutely yapping.
And it will continue. It will continue.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us.
No problem.
We appreciate it greatly, because if we have to record this a third time, I might kill myself.
I will actually throw myself off of a building.
I don't want anyone throwing themselves off a building. If we have to re-record this a third time, I will give you a time, a place, you're getting one.
Yeah, it's like if this does happen again, I'm just gonna message my professor like, hey, this is the second time this has happened. I need time.
Look, my queers are tired.
My gays are gayed out, all right? And my third group that I had for my backup, they are nowhere to be found.
Thank you for allowing us the opportunity to kind of peel back the layers on some of these.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Enjoy your guys' night. Take care. Good night.